Many thanks for staying with us, everyone. By tomorrow, it will be exactly a year that Nigerians trooped to the polls to elect a president. And Muhammadu Buhari, after 4 times, he was able to emerge Nigeria's president. For everyone, it was first like a rumor that Governor Nasir El-Rufai wrote a memo to the president with some detailed suggestions on what to be done so as to rescue the APC and the Buhari government from collapse and imminent takeover by a cabal close to the president. But Pastor Tunde Bakare has attested. Look at what he said to the fact that the memo was written and all of these have happened in the last 48 hours. Look at what Pastor Tunde Bakare said. He said, "I can never deny that I knew about the memo. I knew about it. I flew from Lagos to meet El-Rufai in Abuja to discuss the contents with President Buhari. These were just 3 of us. There were just 3 of us at the meeting." Well, that is the statement of Pastor Tunde Bakare. He said the memo was an assessment of what was going on, where mistakes had been made, and things were not going on well, and what could be done to move the country forward. It was not an attack on anybody or the president, but some sons of disobedience around President Buhari leaked the memo. Let's continue our conversation now. Mr. Akin Oshun-Tokun, a former presidential advisor, and Kayode Ogundamisi, a political analyst from London, has been talking to us on this matter. Let me quickly come to you, Mr. Ogundamisi. I mean, with this reference to the people who are close to the president, Pastor Bakare referred to them as sons of disobedience. You heard the senator there when we went on that break saying that there's some people who are close to the president, who are the enemies of the president. And you heard, you saw there in the earlier portions that I showed earlier in the program, the memo written by Nasir El-Rufai, that there are some people who are in the kitchen cabinet of the president who do not want good for this government. I mean, how easy is it for some group of people to do such kind of damage as being talked about?
I don't usually agree with my brother Akin Oshun-Tokun, but he made one very important comment there that I completely agree with 100%. Look, the buck stops at the desk of the man who presented himself as a candidate for the presidency. President Buhari is not someone that can easily be manipulated if he does not want to be manipulated. We have been saying it from the word go that the appointment of some of his principal close cabinet members was a disappointment to even his staunchest of supporters. A presidency that is meant to be dynamic, a presidency that is meant to work on the campaign of change, cannot surround himself with people who, for example, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation is involved in the grass cutting scandal, when people have been mentioned in corrupt enrichment. And we thought the president would take very decisive action, zero tolerance on corruption, even by people very close to him. But I don't think it's too late. One of the very happy things, one of the very light at the end of this tunnel is the fact that people will not give up. They will continue to speak truth to power in this presidency, irrespective of what their relationship with the government. And that is not an indictment on the government as a whole. And I think El-Rufai, I read the memo, and there is not one part of the memo that you can disagree with in terms of the economy, in terms of security. He commended the president on the progress made on Boko Haram, but the need to strengthen institutions. Let me give you an example. 98% of appointees working for Buhari were appointed by Goodluck Jonathan. 2 years down the line, ambassadors are still waiting to be deployed across the world, ambassadors that were appointed by Buhari appointees. So how do you carry out a radical change when you're working with elements that were
let's quickly come to Mr. Oshun-Tokun here in the Lagos studio. You know the corridors of Aso Rock pretty well. You've walked there. Tell us, the SGF, the chief of staff, Mr. El-Rufai said some of these people could disallow someone as big as a governor from seeing the president. How powerful could these two people be?
Well, you see, let me just make a preliminary remark. I think it is escapism, always dragging Jonathan into whatever inadequacies that Buhari's government is suffering. That is keeping ambassadors from, that is totally, this is the kind of escapism that is killing the government. People have to come to terms with the reality of their own decisions, incompetence, whatever it is. But two, you're asking if the president can be, well, there are a number of factors. I've just told you one by itself. Buhari is not a very, I don't know, use the word public person, you know. And that's why I brought in the precedence of his incumbency when he was military head of state. That, you know, you had the very, Odiabon was the face of the regime. But a military regime, you can shape it whichever way you like. It's a dictatorship. But under a democratic government, you have to follow the prescriptions and the regulations of the constitution, many of which do not fit into the kind of personality that President Buhari has. He's also an old person that has been compounded by, as we now know, and as he himself has admitted, by ill health. Inaccessibility is a major ingredient of what you are talking about, of personality cult and of people hijacking a presidency. If you are inaccessible as a result of, you know, physical indisposition or whatever it is, this is going to come to the fore. I will not comment what the wife of the president did the way Kayode just done. Is wrong. I've never seen any such precedents in the world where the wife of an incumbent president will go on an international media to start criticizing.
But when people have this kind of fears, Mr. Oshintokun, that what you have built, this woman had gone with the president to campaign, and you have fears that some people who are close to him are going to frustrate the dreams they had before they came into government.
Make those advice, the criticism available privately. I object to the idea of a wife of the president. Now, tell me where it has happened before. Is it that those all presidents have never, they don't have, their wives don't have disagreements with them over the way the government is going?
Mr. Oshintokun, do you think that the president should consider rejigging his kitchen cabinet?
I don't know what is the kitchen cabinet. You see, these are I hope you know what you are. Can you identify members of his kitchen cabinet? You don't know. Kitchen cabinet is a description of a powerful group of people that meet with the president at his own choice of time or whatever it is. I don't know who are members. You can only rumors in the like somebody like Mama Ndaura, for instance. You know, he doesn't have any position.
He meets quite often with the SGF and the chief of staff. I mean,
in the course of his duty, that is inevitable. But that doesn't mean that I said, look, the president determines who is powerful or who is not powerful. It is at his discretion. So it is the power that he sees to you.
Okay.
So
Mr. Oshintokun, if you look at some of the suggestions as we close now, what do you think that the president should be looking at fixing immediately from some of the suggestions made by Malam Nasir El-Rufai? Just in a few seconds.
He should open the government. He should, you see, right from the word go, he got it wrong by surrounding himself with cronies, with people who are praising him. If this is what he needs to get the job done, let him know. He should open the office or open himself up.
He's still enclosed.
Exactly, yes. Insularity and personality.
Mr. Ogunamisi, if you, in few seconds, if you look at these suggestions, what do you think the president should be doing right now in few seconds based on Malam El-Rufai's suggestions?
The president should get rid of all the dead hooks, charades of corruption that were imposed on our institutions by the Jonathan administration and bring younger, more dynamic and progressive people to sustain these institutions. You cannot but look at the past to fix the present and building for a more positive future for the country. He needs to start acting and getting more patriotic advisors into his government.
Kayode Ogunamisi, political analyst from London, and Mr. Akin Oshintokun, a former presidential advisor. Many thanks for coming on the program.
You're welcome.
And that's our show for tonight. Many thanks for being part of it. We might just stay on this matter. Do let us know what you feel. Let's reconnect on Twitter and let's know your views on this. On behalf of the team, I'm Sean Okimaloye. Bye for now.